Ukraine strikes the Rosneft refinery. A drone over Warsaw's government buildings is taken down, and the UN Commission says Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. Top international stories coming up. But first, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your take on the top international events shaping the week. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says US President Donald Trump has the influence to make Vladimir Putin fear the consequences of his action. He made the comment in an interview with the Sky News, calling on Trump, who recently urged NATO allies to stop buying Russian oil, to take decisive personal measures to halt Putin and bring an end to the war in Ukraine.
US can apply enough sanctions in order to hurt the Russian economy, plus Donald Trump has enough force to make Putin afraid of him. Europe, in this case, should simply be in alliance with the US, and of course it's a big help for Americans to put pressure on Putin. But we need to understand that we just can't wait for all European countries to stop relations with Russia, whether it's oil or gas. So in this, he is right. Europe should stop purchasing fuel and gas.
President Zelenskyy reminded that the EU has already adopted 18 sanctions packages against Russia and said what's now missing is a strong sanctions package from the United States. He also expressed hope that UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer will discuss security issues in detail with Donald Trump. Meanwhile, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio told journalists on September 15 that Trump could meet with Zelenskyy next week. Ukraine says it has targeted a Rosneft refinery in Saratov. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that the facility was struck during the night of September 16. The refinery is known to be involved in supplying Russia's military.
The Saratov refinery produces gasoline, diesel, fuel oil, and various types of bitumen, vacuum gas oil, and technical sulfur, over 20 different petroleum products in total. In 2023, the refinery processed approximately 4.8 million tons of crude oil.
Explosions and fires have been reported in the area around the facility, and the full extent of the damage is still being assessed. Authorities in the Saratov region has warned overnight a potential drone attack. The Russian Ministry of Defense claimed that 18 Ukrainian drones were shot down in the area. Meanwhile, Russian aviation authorities temporarily restricted operations at Saratov airport overnight. Polish authorities have neutralized a drone flying over key governmental buildings and the presidential residence in Warsaw. Prime Minister Donald Tusk confirmed the incident, saying Poland's state protection services took down the drone on Monday. It was spotted over Parkova Street, home to the several government offices, and above the Belvedere Palace, one of the official residences of the Polish president. Poland remains on high alert following last week's unprecedented incursion of Russian drones into its territory.
Recently, Poland's State Protection Service neutralized a drone flying over government buildings on Parkowa Street and the Belvedere Palace. 2 Belarusian citizens were detained, and police are investigating the circumstances of the incident.
Polish security forces have detained individuals linked to the drone incident near government buildings in Warsaw. They were immediately handed over to law enforcement. The Interior Minister's spokesperson, Katarina Galecka, has confirmed the information. A spokesperson for the State Protection Service also told Polsat News there was no direct threat to the facilities. Meanwhile, Poland's Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski says he personally supports debating the idea of a no-fly zone over Ukraine. According to Sikorski, the proposal was previously floated in Washington during the presidency of Joe Biden.
Technically, as NATO and the EU, we could do this, but it is not a decision Poland can make on its own. It can only be taken together with our allies.
Sikorski added that Warsaw would be better able to protect its airspace if it could counter drones and other flying objects beyond its border. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says that Trump administration will not impose additional tariffs on Chinese goods to curb China's purchases of Russian oil unless European countries take similar action. Bessent stressed that Europe should play a more active role in reducing Russia's oil revenues and helping to end the war in Ukraine. He also criticized some European nations for buying Russian oil, as well as others importing oil products refined in India from discounted Russian crude, saying such purchases effectively found the conflict in Europe's own backyard.
I can guarantee you that if Europe imposes significant secondary tariffs on buyers of Russian oil, the war will end within 60 to 90 days, as it would cut off Moscow's main source of revenue.
During trade talks in Madrid, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told Chinese officials that the U.S. has imposed tariffs on Indian goods and that the Trump administration urged European countries to impose tariffs of 15 to 100% on China and India to reduce Russia's oil revenues. China responded by insisting that its oil purchases are a matter of national sovereignty. According to Bloomberg, potential measures targeting companies from China and India are being discussed in the EU as a part of European Commission's 19th sanctions package against Russia. Sources say the discussions were prompted by US calls for European partners to take actions against Beijing and New Delhi for their purchases of Russian oil. Details on which companies might be affected have not yet been released. Italy's defense minister Guido Crosetto has warned that the country is not prepared for a potential attack, whether from Russia or any other state. The statement, reported by Il Fatto Quotidiano, comes amid concerns about European security. Crosetto stressed that Italy has not invested enough in defense over the past 20 years and that the gap cannot be closed in just a year or two.
We are not prepared for an attack from Russia, nor from any other country. I've been saying this for a long time. I believe our task is to put the country in a position to defend itself if some madman decides to attack us. I'm not just talking about Putin, I mean anyone.
He noted that while Italy plays a major role in NATO's eastern defenses, it also has responsibilities on the southern flank. Regarding Ukraine, he emphasized the need for international actions in the coming weeks, warning that delays could have serious consequences if the current trends continue. At the same time, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has proposed a collective security mechanism for allies similar to NATO's Article 5 as a key political guarantee for Ukraine, but she made it clear that Italy will not send any troops to the country. Israel has launched a ground offensive in Gaza aimed at pushing back Hamas following intensified airstrikes on the city. The operation began shortly after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Israeli authorities say the goal is to dismantle Hamas and secure the city. Recent airstrikes have destroyed dozens of high-rise buildings believed to be used for military purposes. Meanwhile, the Israeli army has urged nearly 1 million residents to evacuate to designated humanitarian zones in the south. Despite the government's determination, senior military and intelligence officials warn that a ground assault carries serious risks, including threat to Israel hostages, potential heavy casualties among troops, and the challenge of fully containing Hamas. As Axios reports, Washington has expressed support for the operation but emphasized that it should be swift and completed as quickly as possible.
Well, as you saw, the Israelis have begun to take operations there, so we think we have a very short window of time in which a deal could happen. We don't have months anymore, and we probably have days and maybe a few weeks, so it's a key moment, an important moment.
Meanwhile, an independent UN commission investigating human rights in the occupied Palestinian territories has concluded that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. The panel found their actions have been ongoing since October 2023, aimed at the destruction of the Palestinian population. It highlighted killings, severe physical and psychological harm, the deliberate creation of living conditions designed to destroy the population, and measures to prevent population growth. The report also cited statements from Israeli civilians and military authorities and the conduct of security forces as evidence of intent to target Palestinians as a group.
The Commission concluded that Israel has committed genocide against the Palestinian people in Gaza and that it is continuing with that genocide. It is now almost 2 years since Israel launched its military campaign in the Gaza Strip in October 2023. This has been the most ruthless, prolonged, and widespread attack against the Palestinian people since 1948.
The Commission called on Israel and all countries to respect international law, hold their autocracies, and hold those responsible accountable. Israel has strongly rejected the findings, dismissing the report as fabricated and accusing the Commission of relying on information from Hamas that it says has already been discredited. That's it for now. For the latest news, follow our new X account, War and Politics 24. The link is in the video description.